Welcome, everyone. I am so grateful. You have no idea how excited I am. My heart has been pounding thinking about this. And there's a time when I would have thought that pounding heart feeling was fear or anxiety. And now I recognize it as excitement. Before we pop in, I won't be able to look at everyone's chat answers to this, but I would love it if you would just tell me what part of the world you're in. Just in the chat, tell me where you are joining us from today. And I'm going to look at this and just see a few people. Okay, Michigan, the Netherlands, Alabama, Oregon, Boston, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. They're going so fast. This is awesome. I'm surprised by how many Americans are here. So often these calls have more people in Europe than from America. And so I love that the US is well represented. And I also love when Europe is well represented, because I think that I grew up in somewhere in Europe in a former life, because I feel such an affinity towards my European friends. So thank you all so much for being here. Before we start, or right as we begin, I want to walk you through an icebreaker protocol to just kind of get us all in the zone. I want you to set your expectation, whatever you were hoping to get out of this session today. I believe this is going to exceed all those expectations. Something absolutely amazing is going to happen. And if you have been waiting until you feel ready, waiting until ... to start making a difference in the world, I want you to know that today you're going to walk away and realize that now is the time. So I invite you, if you're comfortable doing so, just to bring your hands to your heart and gently close your eyes. And just notice the feeling of relaxation and connection. And just begin to tune into the breath. Nothing to change or manage. Simply notice the way your hands rise and fall with the breath. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fall. And as you sink in to this moment, sink into the surface beneath you. And notice the way that deep, heavy relaxation has allowed the rise and fall of the breath to slow down and sink with people all around the world who are sinking into this moment with you. And as you relax even deeper, I invite you, if you'd like, to keep one hand on your chest and place another hand gently on your forehead, simultaneously making contact with your heart and your head. And just notice what you notice about the way you feel in this moment, the rise and fall of the breath. And I invite you to welcome in the image of a tiny little elevator, a body elevator moving with the rise and fall of your breath, up to the head as you inhale and back to the heart as you exhale. With each breath moving heart energy and feeling up to the head on the inhale, and head energy and thinking down to the heart. It happens on its own as you just breathe. And I wonder what color comes to mind when you think of heart energy. And you can just allow that elevator to bring that color up to the head as you inhale. And the beautiful color that represents thoughts moving down as you exhale. The colors intermingling to create clarity of thought and infuse peace into feeling. As the head and heart sync and harmonize with one another in thinking, feeling, and acting. And now I invite you to move the hand on your head down to your low belly below the waist, the other hand remaining on the heart. As the hand on your belly rests on the area of emotions, vitality, your pure spirit, childlike playfulness, creativity. So as you breathe in, that little body elevator moves from the belly to the heart, bringing with it playfulness, joy, vitality. And the exhale moves energy from the heart to the belly. So you get a compassionate and overpowering revelation about old emotions that lets you laugh at the small things that used to bother you, infusing vitality and playfulness into the feelings and compassion into the emotions. Breathing in takes the elevator up from the belly to the heart, infusing you with even more joy. And breathing out flows energy from the heart to the belly as you witness all emotions with compassion, love, non-judgment, and simply behold the rise and fall of emotions and feelings. And you can invite the color that matches the playful vitality of the belly to move up on the inhale as the color of compassionate heart energy moves down to the belly, so that harmony continues to deepen between the belly and the heart, moving up to the head and back down through the heart and belly. Playful, creative vitality as you simply rest into this moment. And I invite you just to think about one other person who is here on this call, perhaps someone you noticed before, someone you've seen on your screen. Just allow them to come in mind. And imagine that you could step in the room with them and just observe their body elevator working perfectly, moving up and down, syncing with your own elevator. And imagine you could just step into that room with that person. Perhaps they're lonely or going through some difficulty of their own, and just simply say to them, I see you. I'm glad you are here. That's right. And right now there are 72 people on this call, and I want you to imagine that all 71 others chose you. Feel our presence in the room with you as we simply witness you in joy. Whatever you're going through, we all say, I see you. I am glad you are here. And something amazing is about to happen. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and lower your hands and come back fully into this moment. I was going to tell you before we started that that's the induction script I told you I would share. So you are all going to get it. And I usually tell people at the beginning, because I know if you are like me, you were like trying to pay attention so that you could maybe do it later if you enjoyed that. I'm going to give it to you. So there's a man named Mandel. I don't know if he's here, but he created that script and shared it in one of my Transy Tuesday sessions. And everyone, including myself, loved it so much that it has become my favorite induction. So a person could use that script and then go into their hypnosis protocol, or in the context of group sessions, that's how I like to start my calls. Sometimes I'll do just coherent heart breathing, where you just imagine breathing light into the heart and then sending that light to someone on the call. So that's my first little tip for you. I want this to be an experiential room. My first tip is, when you're doing a group hypnosis session, the most powerful indicator, it's just like with a one-on-one session, the most powerful indicator that a person is going to get the transformation they seek is if there's strong rapport in place. And one of the things I love most about group sessions is how you get in rapport with the entire, I was going to say the entire world. It kind of is, with the entire room of people from all around the world. It's such a beautiful bonding experience. So I want to share my intention for this call. I did a call like this a couple weeks ago for the Carolina Hypnotherapy Association. I believe it's called. Angela's nodding. I'm not sure if I have that last word correct. And it was such a transformational call. And I thought, I want to give this to more people. I want to equip as many people as possible to share their message, share their truth with the world, and equip others to do the same. And before I got on this call, I have to tell you, I was standing outside the door. So I'm looking at my doorway across the room, and I was standing outside the door, and I just put my hands to my heart. And I imagined this room just being infused with magic. And this is silly, but I believe that the unconscious mind speaks the language of playfulness and creativity. And when we stop overthinking and overanalyzing and let ourselves get playful and silly, that's like the most powerful form of self-hypnosis in the world. So I stood outside my door and I just imagined this room just being infused with magic. And I imagined that when I walked in, that I would feel that magic and be able to express it to you. And when I stepped in the room, I just stood there and I basked. I held my hands to my heart. This has become a really strong anchor for me. We do this every week on Transy Tuesdays. And anytime I'm feeling anything other than wonderful and I need some strength, I'll bring my hands to my heart like this. And you all will have that gift from now on as well. But I just stood there and I just soaked it up. And I imagined the people on this call, and this includes if you're watching the replay, leaving here fully equipped to do your own Zoom group hypnosis sessions. Anything that has been holding you back, whether it's a feeling of not being ready or being afraid you're going to stumble over your words or being afraid you might lose your Wi-Fi connection, which, by the way, if that happens, just pop right back in. We'll rendezvous here. I think it's only happened to me once, but I just want to give you that disclaimer. Whatever your reason for not starting yet, my intention is that at the end of this, you feel not only equipped, but enthusiastic and excited to get out there and make a difference. And as I was standing there and just thinking about this, I had this vision of like everybody here going out and making, having this many people on your calls. And then maybe some of those people, if they want to share the message, like this is such a, I was going to say ricochet effect, and that is not what I'm trying to say. It's just like expands. So thank you for being here. All right, I'm looking at my notes real quick. Okay, what I would like is if you would, by the way, I want to introduce Caroline Daw, my right-hand lady. She is here minding the chat, bringing people in from the weight room. Caroline, if you weren't here, I would be lost without you. And she has helped me so much in my business, and she's here today to grab questions. She's going to be watching the chat. So what I would like for you to do is think about anything that has been in the way, any reason you haven't started doing group hypnosis sessions, like what if this happens, but what if this happens, or how could this possibly work? And just write that what if question in the chat, and Caroline will grab those and she's going to put them in a shared document that we have. Are you going to put them in a shared document, Caroline? Or, okay, yeah. So, and you can ask questions now or at any time. And I'm just going to peek over at this, and I see Caroline saying, losing my thought in my training words, getting people to sign up is the hardest part, Jane says. So I'm just going to jump in. The three things I want to give you today is I want to give you the ability to, and I love that Caroline asked, what if I lose my train of words or my thoughts? Because this first protocol that I'm going to teach you, it's a 30-second protocol. And it puts you in a place of, no matter what happens in that session, if you forget your words, if someone interrupts you, if you lose your, no matter what curveball might come at you during that session, something even more wonderful is going to happen than if you had executed it perfectly. Like if you had a script and you read every word of the script perfectly, the tool I'm about to give you works so much better. It equips you in such a more powerful way. And I'm going to talk about this. I know many of you are well familiar with state management, with changing our state. That's how Tony Robbins talks about it. And when he talked about it, I kind of got it, but it was like that word state doesn't mean a whole lot to me. And when I started studying hypnosis with Mike Mandel, I saw him to help I learned hypnosis to help myself with weight struggles. I had struggled with my weight since childhood, and I just felt discouraged and kind of broken. And what I discovered is that this unexpected side effect took place where hypnosis just eradicated decades of depression, which I don't remember a time I wasn't depressed from early childhood. And it was so liberating that that's why I decided to quit my job as a hairstylist and become a hypnotist. I felt like I have to share this with the world, because deep down there's like this little girl part of me that ever since I was a little girl, I have wanted to be Wonder Woman for the purpose of saving the world. And I know I'm not going to save the world, but knowing that there are 76 people on this call who are getting this message, I really do believe it will make a difference. So the way Mike Mandel explains state is you can think of our states as the way we show up in the world. So sometimes people say, oh, I'm not a confident person. But if a person has ever experienced confidence, even for a split second, then that is an aspect of your personality that is available to you. And you can think of all these different ways we show up in the world, like super playful. If we're playing with a puppy on the floor and we're rolling around and being silly, that's a state. If we're going to a job interview and we're at our best and we're trying to speak in a really polished and professional way, that's a state. And all of these states are actually wired in neural pathways that you could see in the brain if you had the right equipment. And you can think of these states as kids in the classroom. And each one of us, each human has somewhere between 100 and 130 different kids in the classroom, different ways that we can show up in the world. But there's a rule to this classroom. Only one kid can stand in the front of the classroom at a time. And the kid who's standing in the front of the classroom is who you are being in that moment. And we get used to using the same 5 or 6 kids, to showing up in the world in the same way, you know, maybe insecure or self-conscious when we turn the camera on, or super confident when we talk about that one subject that we love, the words just flow. Or for me, I got very used to showing up as depressed Lori. I wore that one like a label. I am depressed. And when you understand how to change your state, and I'm going to show you my favorite trick for doing that in just a moment, you realize that you can show up for a group call, no matter how unready you feel, no matter how unpolished you feel. I don't think unready is a word. You can show up with confidence and courage and charisma, and know that anything, if you forget your words, it's okay. And the way you do that is, and this helps that confident person, that confident kid stand in the front of the classroom, is what I call my SIP protocol. That's S as in Sam, I as in intention, P as in permission. So S as in state. You're going to change your state, and this is how I would like you to do it. So if you are comfortable playing along with this part, I would love for you to do so. If not, you can just vividly imagine doing so, because the unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between something you physically do and something you vividly imagine. However, when you get your body involved, it is the most powerful form of self-hypnosis in the world, when you change what I call your 3 Bs. So your 3 Bs are body language, breathing, and beliefs. And beliefs seems hard, like, how do I change my beliefs? But all beliefs is recycled self-talk. And when you start to change your self-talk, everything changes. If you've ever tried affirmations and they didn't really work, it's because you got to change the first 2 Bs first. When you change your body language and your breathing, and then you bring in the affirmation of belief, it's just transformational. So if you would like to play along, I would like you to stand up and just stand off to the side so you can see the place where you're sitting, but you're standing over here and observing it. I'll wait just a moment so people who want to do that can do that, and I can take a drink. Okay. So now I would like you to imagine that in that spot where you were sitting a moment ago is someone who is so good at doing group hypnosis sessions, someone who is an excellent presenter. For me, when I do this, I might think of Tony Robbins or Brene Brown or Oprah. And it can be a person that you know in real life. It can be like a character from a movie. It can be a big personality. It can be Batman or Wonder Woman. Just notice who comes to mind when you ask yourself the question, who would be really, really good at this? They wouldn't stumble over their words, or if they did, they would just make it turn into something even more amazing. And now I want you to look at that spot, and I want you to imagine that that person is sitting there. If you're not a visual person, you can imagine this in some other way. Just imagine that you could notice their body language as they speak. Notice their facial expressions. Notice the quality of their voice when they speak, the articulation of their words. Notice the way they breathe. And now, if there was a thought bubble coming out of their head and you could see what they're thinking, what are they saying? What's the first thing that comes to mind? You can make it up. It might be as simple as, yes. And now, once more, notice their 3 Bs, notice their body language. Be really looking at that spot and just pretending to hallucinate this, their breathing, their beliefs. And when I count to 3 in a moment, I'm going to have you go and sit and just inhabit that space, taking on all their most positive, highest and best characteristics and leaving anything you don't want behind. So go ahead, 1, 2, 3, go sit in that space. Close your eyes. If you want, you can bring your hands to your heart or change your body language in any way that seems right to you, and just feel yourself soaking up this confidence, courage, charisma, whatever it is that you need. That's right. Now say that thing to yourself. Whatever they were saying, say that to yourself. And notice how your body responds to your self-talk. And as you feel this, I want you to imagine the next group call that you do, whether you've done one already or it will be your very first call. I want you to imagine showing up as this version of yourself, because here's the thing. It is impossible to imagine or notice a characteristic in someone else unless it lives in you too. This is yours. This is not faking it till you make it. This is unlocking this true aspect of you. And I invite you now just to tell your unconscious mind, and all it takes is just setting an intention. Pretend like you're talking to that unconscious, highest self part of you and just say, this is how I want to show up on my Zoom calls. And imagine that you hear that agreement from your unconscious mind saying, as you wish. And you can go ahead and relax your hands down and know that this is a tool that's yours from now on. And anytime you notice yourself starting to say, what if I stumble over my words? What if this happens? What if this happens? You can just say, nope, remember unconscious mind, we have this deal, right? The very first time I spoke in front of a group, it was a group of 80 of my peers. I had been in a 2-week, I can't remember now if it was a 2-week or a 1-week training with them. And I had made friends with these people. I looked up to these people. I had never called myself a hypnotist until I went to this meeting. And the first time I introduced myself as a hypnotist, I waited for lightning to strike because it felt like BS, because I was Lori Hammond hairstylist. And I made friends with the facilitator of the group, and he invited me to speak and talk to people about hypnosis. And I was terrified. And I went home and I set up a camera and I recorded myself doing this presentation. And then I watched it back and I thought, I'm ridiculous. Like, I can't do it. I'm gonna call in sick. And I remembered Mike Mandel saying, there's a part of you that has been taking in everything you've learned since the moment you entered the world, that knows exactly what to say in a way that's better than your overthinking, trying, efforting conscious mind could ever do. There's a part of you that has the tools in place. And when we surrender to that part of us and we set an intention, which is what we're going to talk about next, then that part of us can guide us so we can open our mouth and speak with very little planning. I've noticed the things that I show up for where I have done less planning turn out better than the things where I do more. And I have the learnings. I know what I want to teach. I don't just show up and expect to say something I don't know. But when I just set my intention, amazing things happen. So if you notice yourself getting nervous at any time, this is your antidote. Just to change your 3 Bs and tell yourself that powerful thing and just tell your unconscious mind, we have a deal, remember, we're going to do this. So that is S for state. And what I just showed you is what I call my alter ego protocol. The alter ego protocol is just imagining someone else doing the thing you want to do. And the more playful and ridiculous you make it, the better. The unconscious mind loves the language of imagination. When we tap into those childlike qualities, which you do have inside you, it's the most powerful form of self-hypnosis. So the I is for intention. And the way you set an intention is to think about what you want to have happen on your call. And what I have found is it's much more effective to go to the end of the call, not to try to micromanage all the steps along the way, but to go to the very end of the experience and show the unconscious mind, this is what I want. And for me, I walked you through how I did that a moment ago, where I just imagined at the end of the call, just everyone lighting up and going out and scheduling their group calls and feeling equipped and feeling ready and feeling excited about this, and then delivering their call. And when I did this that first time, when I spoke in front of that group, like I said, if you shoot for Saturn, you're sure to hit the moon. So I imagined everyone in the room standing up and giving me a standing ovation and cheering like the crowd goes wild. And coming and shaking my hand afterwards and saying, that was amazing. I want to know more about hypnosis. Because so many people, I don't know if this is more prevalent in America, but hypnosis freaks people out. And I wanted people to be excited. And so I just imagined that end result. And every time I would literally be sitting there listening to the facilitator of the group speak, and I would start to think about me speaking, and my face would flush and my ears would get hot, and my heart would pound, and I would say, nope, I'm just gonna let my unconscious take care of this, and it would turn that off. So set an intention for what you want to have happen by picturing the end result. It could be that you imagine the emails that are going to come in and tell you what an incredible job you did. Oftentimes when I stand in front of the screen before I get started, I'll close my eyes and just imagine this like infinity loop of energy intermingling between me and you all. So today, when I was standing outside the door and imagining this color, I'm a really auditory person. I'm not a very visual person. And so my color like had a sound. It has the sound of whatever pixie dust and magic sounds like. And I just imagine that color just infuses into the room you're in and envelops you and wraps you in that same energy. So as I was setting my intention for you, I was picturing, you guys, I'm going to get emotional. I was picturing all the people who are here, and this applies to you if you're on the replay as well, going out and having that same experience where they are basking in that color and infusing hope into other people, and that spreading to those people and just creating this incredible effect. So that's the I. Does anyone have any questions about that? If you do, feel free to put it in the chat if you have any questions about the S for state, the I for intention, and then Caroline, when we get to the end of the P, if you want to let me know if there's any questions specific to this protocol, I would love it. And thank you. Okay, so P is for permission. And this is the easiest part. And I've kind of touched on this already. And that's just in those moments during the call. And you will have them. When, maybe somebody asks you something, if it's an interactive call. Usually when I have less people on the call, we're quite interactive. Or you're talking and all of a sudden you just completely forget what you were going to say, or you lose your connection. I once had my smoke alarm go off during the middle of a call. It was like the first 10 minutes of a paid call that people had paid really good money to go be on. And my smoke alarm went off, and I was in an apartment complex that it was like a complex wide event, and I had no way to escape it. And I turned on my laptop and went and got in my car and did the event from my car. And the people, as I was walking back in, I could hear what they were speaking, and they're saying, she is just so good under pressure. I'm so impressed with how she handled that. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. So permission is when you notice yourself having that, oh crap moment, that you tell yourself, I can do this. And it's as simple as just shifting back into those 3 B's and saying, what if I do know how to help this person? What if I do know the answer? I've had people where I will spontaneously do a protocol during the session and just ask someone a question, having no idea what they're going to answer. And then it's my job to help them, to guide them through. And sometimes as they're sharing, I'm like, I'm going to make a fool of myself in front of everyone on this call. I have no idea what to do. And I just shift and say, I can do this. If you start to stumble over your words and you forget where you were, you can say, I can remember where I was going with this. I'll do that out loud all the time in my Trancy Tuesdays, because I do love to distract myself. And if I notice myself starting to think, oh, what was I going to say? I'll just say, I can easily remember what I was going to say, because there's a part of you that desperately does not want to make you a liar. It really wants to make the things you say about yourself true. And I have to tell you, one of my biggest pet peeves is when hypnotherapists say, I'm not good at self-hypnosis. Because can I tell you something? Those words, I'm not good at self-hypnosis, are a powerful self-hypnosis script that literally shut you off from the resources that would make you good at self-hypnosis. And if it's too much, like if it feels too inauthentic for you to say, I'm great at self-hypnosis, you can say this, you can say, I like the idea of being really good at self-hypnosis. Or I like the idea of feeling really confident when I do my group hypnosis session. And everything starts to shift. I just realized I didn't set an expectation of time. I usually try to let people know what to expect time-wise. My intention is to teach for the first hour, like experiential teaching like we've been doing. So we're 33 minutes in, and then open up to question and answer for about 30 minutes. And then I will end the call. So I just want to, I'm sorry, I didn't, I really like honoring people's time. And that's another little hint that I suggest for doing your Zoom calls. Start on time, be respectful of the people who show up on time. And then people who tend to come in late, realize that if they come in late, they're going to miss a little bit, and finish on time. Just honor people's time. So, and that's just me. That's my personality type. But if that resonates for you, I think it helps people feel safe when they know they can trust you to keep your word. Okay, Caroline, were there any questions about the SIT protocol?
No, we're all good. We're all
okay,
good
awesome. Wonderful. Okay. So that covers my first promise to you, which was to learn a 30-second self-hypnosis protocol that lets you tap into instant confidence before and during your call. And then in parentheses, I said it even works for people who don't think they're good at self-hypnosis. You are good at self-hypnosis. And the thing is, I heard so many people say this when I was training and I didn't understand. The body is the unconscious mind. And that's why you can look at a person and see which kid is in the front of the classroom just by looking at them. You know, if someone is like this as they speak, you know that probably depressed or disappointed or sad kid is in the front of the classroom. If someone is speaking like this and they're enthusiastic, you know that confident kid or happy kid is in the front of the classroom. And it really is the quickest form of self-hypnosis, just to change your 3 B's. And if you don't know how to do that, I'm going to show you a foolproof way to do it. Imagine that a magic string is pulling you up from the top of the head, right from the center of the top of your head. And it's just very gently pulling you up and just letting the rest of your body hang, just kind of loose and limp and aligned like a marionette on a string. And then just slightly tip your chin up and look up. And now I invite you to smile so big that the crinkles on your eyes crinkle up. And if it's comfortable to do so, outstretch your arms. Take a deep breath in through the nose and let it out with a long, slow exhale. And just think to yourself, I am here. And it is good. And now as you hold this body language, as you breathe in this powerful way, I want you to try to think that negative, disappointing thought and actually believe yourself. And now you can relax back and come to this moment. So if you're trying to, for me, I've been creating this really big program that I'm putting together, and I've been needing to be in a place of creativity. And my what if monster is like, what if people don't like it? What if you don't finish in time? What if? And if I change my 3 B's first and then start to say, what if it turns out really amazing? What if people love this? What if it exceeds all expectations? What if it completely changes these people's lives? That puts me in the space to be creative and to make something that is so much more effective. The pictures you are making in your head with your words and your thoughts are your form of self-hypnosis. So if you notice yourself feeling yucky, you're probably responding to a movie that's happening in here. And you can always change the movie, and it's easier to change it if you change this first. Okay. So the next promise I made was to get the 4-part blueprint that I use during my group hypnosis sessions that generates transformation during group hypnosis sessions. You guys are going to love this. This is one of my favorite things, and it's not mine. It's Mike Mandel's. And then the last point, because I'm going to be interweaving this in, is the science-backed reason that group sessions generate miracles, even if everyone on the call has a different problem. So I do weekly group hypnosis sessions on a platform called Transy Tuesdays. There's quite a few Transy Tuesdays people here in the room. I'm so grateful you're here. Yes, Sheris. And everyone on the call, like even if they're all there for the same, let's say it's an anti-anxiety call, everyone has their own flavor of anxiety. And one of the biggest reservations I hear people come up with when I say group hypnosis session works really, really well over Zoom is, but what, like, you can't ask them about their problem. They can't talk about the problem. They can't explain this. So what I'm going to show you is the antidote to that. And I'm going to say some things, and I want you to know this is the world according to Lori Hammond. So I'm saying this with deep humility. If it clashes with anything you believe, I'm not absolutely sure I'm right, but based on my experience, I am right. When a person receives transformation during a hypnosis session, it's not because of anything you did. It's not because you said the right words. It's not because you used the right protocol. It's not because you paused for the right amount of time in between breaths. It's because you found a way to unlock that person's resources, to unlock the part of that person that knows the things they don't realize they know, to give them that transformation on their behalf. You are just the unlocker, and they have the key. We don't have the key. And I express this to take the weight off, to help you know that when you go into a protocol and you do that into a session and you have done the SIP protocol in advance, you can speak a foreign language that no one else on the call understands, and they will still get the transformation, especially if you are in rapport with them, which happens when you do that icebreaker at the start of your call. Okay, so here's the formula from Mike Mandel. And Caroline, I see your hand.
Somebody just asked in the comments, can you just go through the P bit of the SIP protocol again, the permission part?
Yes. So permission is just every time you notice yourself starting to slip into I'm going to use a profanity. I don't use profanities very much, but here we go. Every time you notice yourself slipping into an oh shit moment, you give yourself permission to just switch back in, and you change your self-talk from oh shit to I can do this. I can remember what I was going to say. I know how to deal with this person who's perhaps creating a ruckus on the call. That happens very, very rarely. I've only had it happen once where somebody was just kind of like going off on a tangent. And when you tell yourself, I know how to handle this, and you change your 3 B's, it all comes back. So permission is something when you're thinking about the call, when you're preparing for the call, and you notice yourself having moments of fear or hesitation, you shift your 3 B's. You give yourself permission to say something positive to yourself. Thank you, Caroline. And so it happens before the call, during the call, and even after the call, because sometimes when you have this mountaintop experience of these calls, then afterwards your imposter monster comes and starts whispering things in your ear about how, oh, that wasn't good enough. That doesn't happen very often when you use this, because you're going to be on such a high, because you have seen people responding to the things that you share with them in such a positive way that you're just going to be inspired to keep going. But sometimes, it's human nature, it's biological fact that what goes up must come down. And so when you come down, you give yourself permission to say, yeah, I'm exhausted now, but I did it and I'm proud of myself. Okay, so this is Mike Mandel's protocol for ensuring transformation on a group call. And it's A, D as in dog, A, C as in car. And I could tell you what they actually stand for. It's associate, dissociate, associate, collapse. And the best way for me to explain this to you is to demonstrate it. So I'm going to associate you into the problem, which means I'm going to make it real for you so that you feel it. And it's okay, because this is a really safe place. You know that wherever you go, you're going to be safe, you're going to be comfortable. This is just happening in your imagination, and something amazing is going to happen. And then I'm going to dissociate you. I'm going to pull you right back out. Then I'm going to associate you into something really positive, the thing you want to have happen. And then I'm going to collapse. That's the C. I'm going to collapse the positive, powerful thing. And I'm going to you are going to show your unconscious mind, this is what I want to have happen. And you're going to put that through your timeline in the past, so it permeates and rewires all those past events in a way that changes your present and radiates through your future. So what I'd like you to do is think about something that has been stressing you out, something you've been dealing with in your life that you thought, if I could just find the right hypnotist to help me with this. I think that sometimes, you guys, I'm like, I know lots of hypnotists who would be the right one to help me with this. I'm going to tell you who. It's the one sitting in the chair that you're in right now. But just think about that problem that's been bothering you. And just allow yourself to think about the last time this really, really was a problem. Perhaps the last time it really worried you, or the last time you experienced it. And just go there now in your imagination. Just be in that time, seeing what you see, hearing what you hear when you're here, and feeling that yucky feeling, knowing that you're safe. And I want you just to scan your body and notice where you feel this, where this feeling lives in the body. It's okay to make it up or guess. And I'd like you to rate this feeling on an intensity of 1 to 10, 10 being absolutely unbearable. And if it's not at least a 7, I invite you just to use your imagination and pretend that you could crank it up. And be brave with this, because by doing this, you're showing your unconscious mind what you're ready to let go of. And you're preparing the way for something really amazing to happen. And now I want you just to imagine once more that you could show your unconscious mind, this is what I'm ready. This is where I'm ready to experience transformation. And just imagine right now that you could drop into that spot in the body and just observe this feeling. No more running from it, no more trying to make it go away, just noticing it. As if you're saying, oh, there you are. I see you. And notice how even that just begins to soften and relax that feeling. The rough edges becoming smooth and fuzzy. And now what I'd like you to do is just open your eyes and look around the room and find 3 things that are blue in the space around you. If you don't have anything blue, I can just look at Granddad John. He's got a blue shirt with a blue background. If you don't have blue things, you can look for some other color. Ollie could look for beige. That's such a cool room you're in, Ollie. All right. Now, what I'd like you to do is adjust your 3Bs, just adjust into the position of confidence and joy. And as you are in this position, I invite you, if you'd like, you can close your eyes or you can leave them open. I'd like you to notice what comes to mind when I ask this question. When that problem is a thing of the past, what will you experience in its place? How will your life be different 6 months from now, knowing that the intention you set at the start of this call that something amazing was going to happen just happened? Imagine a week from now going through every day knowing that this thing is resolved for you. What will life be like 6 months from now? How will your relationships have changed? How will you feel when you look in the mirror and realize, I'm free? Those situations when this used to be a problem, how have those changed when you show up in those situations? Just imagine that you could watch yourself on a movie screen and notice how your 3Bs have changed in those situations. What's it going to be like a year from now, 5 years from now? That's right, as your unconscious mind, your highest self, the part of you that is in charge of making this transformation on your behalf, has turned that key even now in response to understanding your clear intention to be free. And I'd like you just to imagine that it's many, many years and decades from now, at the end of your very long, healthy, joy-filled life, and you were looking back at all the ways that this moment changed things for you. And if that you could come and just whisper something in your ear, what is the simple thing that it would tell you about the transformation that's just happened? Take that in your heart. That is your 3B. Say that to yourself and notice how your body responds. This is your mantra. Every time you notice any kind of a wobble, you can give yourself put this on as your 3B. Say this to yourself. This is so powerful. And as you feel this, I invite you to bring this feeling back into that situation that we had right at the start, where you were feeling bad, but now you're bringing this amazing thing into that place. You're going to be there now with this feeling, seeing what you see through new eyes, hearing what you hear through new ears, hearing yourself say that powerful thing to yourself and noticing how everything has changed. And in a moment, not yet, but in a moment, I'm going to have you imagine that you could take this beautiful feeling and blow it into the past. So notice where the past is represented for you, and know that you're going to blow this through all those past events, creating transformation on a core unconscious identity level. So on the count of 3, we'll all just blow together. 1, 2, 3. That's right. As your unconscious mind carries this feeling into the future, all the times when this would have been a problem, now giving you permission to show up as this kid in the classroom. This is yours. This is yours from now on. And I just want you to acknowledge this to your unconscious mind by just saying thank you. What if this is the reason you are on this call today? What if this is the answer you have been looking for? And as you sleep and dream tonight, your unconscious will continue to put all these things in place in the way that is just right for you. Reminding you every time you need it that it's just as easy as giving yourself permission to shift into these 3Bs over and over and over, because that thing that used to be a problem, that's something you learned over by repeating it over and over. And this new thing is going to go in so much more quickly because you have set an intention. And if you would just bring your hands to your heart with me one more time. There are 75 people on this call, and how awesome is it that every single one of us can send out an intention to every person here. And if you're watching the replay, this magic does not know time and space. This is for you too. And I just want you to experience the feeling of being seen as whole, healed, healthy. I see you. I see you. And if you would just imagine that you could give that same gift to the people on this call, just observing the people here with their little body elevators working perfectly, moving up and down. As your unconscious mind memorizes this change and puts all the pieces in place for you now. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back to this moment. And that is the reason that I say group hypnosis sessions are incredibly, incredibly powerful. I noticed this when I started doing them. When I first started, I was a hairstylist, and I started asking myself, your questions you ask yourself are so powerful. How could I make an excellent living and stop trading money for time, like where I have to be behind the chair to make money? And I thought, what if group hypnosis sessions could work? And this was 2017, so hardly anyone had heard of Zoom. And the people who had heard of it said, don't do hypnosis sessions over Zoom. It can't work. And I decided to challenge it. And I put together a group. I put a call out and I said, hey, if you want to do an 8-week experiment with me where something life-changing is going to happen, that was really all I knew what to say. It's going to be life-changing. Sign up. And a group of people signed up. And I did it for free because I didn't know if it would work, but I did make them jump through a hoop. And take this in, this is a little tidbit. Don't give your stuff for free. Make them work for it in some way. I made them fill out an extensive consultation form, like questionnaire. I made them take the Myers-Briggs personality test, which I don't really care that much about anymore, but I was geeking out about it at the time. And I made them send me a handwriting sample. I made them write a handwriting sample, take a picture of it, and email it to me. And only people who did that could get in. And I'm telling you, the people that were on that call, one of them is here. The transformations that they received, and most of them were hypnotists, and I was brand new. Like you guys, my imposter monster, I felt like a total idiot. I'm like, well, I don't want to go back to being a hairstylist, so I guess I'm just going to pretend like I know what I'm doing. But I set an intention, and I didn't realize what I was doing then, but I really was sincere in wanting to provide a transformation if it was possible. And the things that happened on that call I think it has a lot to do with why I am where I am today. It was pure magic. And many of the people experienced transformations that they never expected. And it was because I told them to expect it, even though I didn't fully believe it myself. So when you're on your call, set an expectation. It's okay to dream big. It's okay to shoot for Saturn. It is okay to shoot for Saturn. You do people a disservice by acting like their unconscious mind isn't cool enough to do this for them, because it is. So I realized I started charging for my group sessions. And after I had been doing them for a couple of years, I like pretty much every week in my Transy Tuesdays, a man named David Bennett, who is one of the people in my group, mentioned this book called The Power of 8 by Lynn McTaggart. And it is full, like, I'm a why person. I love the science behind the woo. And it is full of scientific, like documented science, experience after experience after experience, that shows when a group of people comes together with a common intention to heal, that magic happens. And by come together, it can be people in all parts of the world who can see each other or not see each other. And whatever that magic is something that literally radiates through. Joan, I see you. Something that radiates through, and creates transformation for people, even if they're watching the replay. Like, I don't get it. I don't know how to explain it, but I've seen it happen so many times. And when I realized, when I read that book, I went into my Calendly app and I turned off my one-on-one sessions, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing one-on-one sessions anymore. And because I freaking love this. Like, this is so fun for me. I'm like little introverty Lori. And I really am. I'm like the biggest introvert you've ever known. I love, like, this fuels me. Generally introverts are depleted when they're around people, but this fuels me and it gives me so much. So if you're an introvert or if you're an extrovert, you are going to love this. And my goal was to give you permission during this call to, no matter how inexperienced you feel, no matter what doubts you feel, to equip you to move forward with this. And I'm so proud of myself because I covered all 3 points. I've done it, and we're even 4 minutes ahead of time. So what I'd like to do, I'm going to come in and look to see if there's any questions. And if there aren't, Caroline, do we have some questions? I might be looking in the wrong place.
We do. I couldn't share them for some reason, so
Oh,
I've written them down. So do you want me to read them out?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So somebody asked, so I suppose it's concerns about doing group sessions, losing their words or their train of thought.
Yes, I saw that one. And remind me who asked that. And if not, because I saw it come in, I think it was Caroline. It was another Caroline. Caroline, will you let me know if you feel like that question was answered with the SIP protocol? I'm peeking over at the chat.
No, that was answered really well, Laurie. Thank you.
Good.
That's so cool.
Awesome. Hi, Caroline. Thank you. Perfect. Okay, other Caroline.
Okay. Somebody else wrote that they'd like to do breakout rooms in their group call, but what if they goof up? What do they do?
Okay, that's a great question as well. And honestly, what I would recommend, because this goes a little bit beyond the scope of this call, go into the Zoom help and Google how to do breakout rooms. Zoom has great tutorials. And you know what? If you mess up, you'll figure it out. It's an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity for something amazing to happen. I promise you, like, if we knew how to do it, there would be no point. It's in doing it before you fully understand that the opportunity for growth happens. And honestly, people love transparency. If you get on there and say, okay, you guys, this is my first time doing breakout rooms. I have no idea if this is going to work or not. So if anything glitchy happens, bear with me. If you happen to get kicked off the call, come back in. It's actually really easy. So when you go into Zoom and look at how it's set up, they make it pretty easy and intuitive. Another thing you could do, and this is not necessary, I didn't have this until about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, is you could have someone with you to assist you with all this stuff, like Caroline is doing for me. And like, I will have a second person set up those breakout rooms while I'm speaking. If that's available to you, great. If it's not available to you, don't let it stop you from doing it. I hope that's helpful. Okay, Caroline.
Let's have a look. What do you do if clients believe that it's not as effective as face-to-face sessions?
That's a great question. So can you think of something? I can think of a good example right now. Let's say that there's something that you eat or drink that you know is really, really good for you. And somebody were to come up to you and say, oh, that's terrible for you. You shouldn't have that. And you just absolutely know this is the reason, like, this is the thing that has helped me get over that difficulty that I had that one time. This is like the nectar of the gods for me. This is so good for me. When you really believe it, the way you speak about it is going to come across. So if you are in rapport with a person, if you have been working with a one-on-one client and they know, like, and trust you, and you have that connection with them, and you just explain some of the things that you've learned on the call today, it, depending on the kind of person they are, you can say, science actually shows that group calls are more effective. And it's not even me who's doing the work. It's just me who's unlocking the change for you. And when that happens on a call, it's even more effective. It works better. And people who do these group sessions love them, and they come back week after week. So it's really, and you don't need a script for that. Just when you step into that confidence yourself, when you bring a confident kid to the front of the classroom and you speak with conviction and clarity, they're going to resonate. And if they don't, maybe they're not the person for you if you don't want to do one-on-one sessions. So I have to tell you guys, I have a training that teaches people, it's $250. It teaches people how to do what I've taught you today. And my intention with this call today was to give you everything that's inside that training. There's a little bit of technical stuff in there that I don't have time to go over, but I really wanted to make sure you're equipped. And what I've found is that when people go through that training, it's like, okay, now what? Like you know how to do this group call, but how do you actually get people into the call? And it can be really hard to find the bodies to fill those seats. And if you do find them, it can be really hard to find people who are actually willing to exchange notes of appreciation or money in exchange for the value that you give them. And I just want to let you know right now, when you accept your worthiness to charge for something, you are actually giving a person a gift of having a more impactful change, because they feel like when they have paid for it, that it's essentially something they get to keep. So if there's any part of you that has been hesitant about charging for a group session, I want to just tell you, you can let that go now. If you want to start off doing some for free just to get people used to it and get comfortable, and then start charging, that's how I did it. But I mentioned earlier that I've been working on something that has this has been like the most intense experience of my life. I've been working 20-hour days, some days for the past 8 weeks, putting together a program in response to people saying, please help me. I know how to do the sessions, but I don't know how to actually get people in there. Or I know how to get people in there, but I don't know how to actually set up all the automations that it takes to get their money and to then deliver them the replay, to deliver them the link to the call. It's really overwhelming. And so many of us, we're healers, we're coaches, we're change workers. We're like, the tech it keeps so many people stuck. So in a few days, in a week from tomorrow, the registration is closing on a program I have called Workshops That Work. And it is something I've been putting together for the past year with a group of 100 other hypnotherapists in my mastermind group, helping them create a 6-figure business doing group hypnosis sessions. And we've just finished the beta test of Workshops That Work. And it's just incredible. The feedback that I have received has been just transformational for me. Like my imposter monster that says, oh, what if I can't help? What if I can't do this? It's blown me away. So I want to invite you to that. And I think, Caroline, do you have the link? If not, I can put it in as well. I'll put the link to that if it's something you're interested in. However, I want you to know that you are equipped to do sessions. And you'll have access to this replay, I'm going to send it to you. You are equipped to do these sessions. And if you're in a place where you are ready to let this be the year that you step into your dream, that you let yourself tell yourself, what if I can do this? What if I can make an excellent living? You guys, I was homeless when I started this. I quit my job because I knew I wouldn't really do it unless I essentially mama birded myself out of the nest. And I was terrified. I have been on food stamps. I have been on welfare as a single mom with no, sorry. Oh my gosh, bad timing. And I am now making 6 figures in my business, and I don't do one-on-one sessions. And I want to equip you to do the same. And if you decide to invest in this program, I have to warn you that there's only 100 slots. I'm only allowing 100 people to sign up, and they're about a quarter of the way full. But I think it'll be open for a couple more days. If it's something that you've been thinking about, I will take you by the hand and I will take you in baby steps to set up the tech, to know how to actually talk in a way that makes people listen. Like you all are listening to me because I have built rapport over social media. And so if social media freaks you out, it freaks most everyone out. And I will show you how to turn it into a tool for good and make it a positive place. Marshall, I see your hand, my friend.
I didn't want to interrupt, but I wanted to kind of to say something that you're exuding, but you haven't said anything about it, and that's authenticity. I think my experiences going through the programs with the Jacquelines and stuff, is just meeting people, is that we all think we need to be something. But actually what I'm getting from you, because I've heard a lot about you, but now this is the first time listening to you, all I kept hearing in my heart was how incredibly authentic you are. And that is powerful. And so I just wanted to give you that feedback, because I know you're doing it, but I needed you to hear it. That to me is probably one of the big things that bring us all to you and has touched us today. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That means the world to me. And it's, before I got on this call, there's, when a person is, has something to give, someone has something to sell, we get in this space of trying. Like, I have a goal to sell 100 of these, and I really want to. And it's expensive, you guys. It's an investment. It's $1,500. And it's scary for me to do that. And so when I got on the call today and I noticed myself like, oh, I really hope people sign up. I really hope people sign up. It's like, no, I just want to serve. And if not one single person signs up, I hope and pray and believe that you have equipped yourself to do this by listening and by accepting that it really can be this easy. Like, you really can get everything you need to do this in a 1-hour session. And so, Marshall, I appreciate you for bringing me back out of that space of trying and into a space of just being here with you beautiful humans. Thank you so much. Jane, I see you. There you go.
Hi there. Yeah, I know. I'm a bit slow. I've got a lot to learn. I just wanted to say that I have signed up for your program. And if there's anybody on here that's just saying, I'm not sure, I know I've kind of pestered you with questions. And if this is the standard of support that people can expect, you're not going to get anything. I'm speaking to everybody else now. You're not going to get this level of support from anybody else. I genuinely believe that, because already you have given me so much and it hasn't even started yet. So I just want to say thank you to you. And I'm not on commission. I genuinely think that this is just something that's a one-off opportunity.
Thank you so much.
So if you can, and you can find a way, do it.
Thank you so
Okay?
much. That means the world to me. And it is, I'm not doing this. It's almost more of a game to me. Like, I want to see if this single mom who has been told you're never going to do it, like, I'm doing this for my brother, you guys. Like, my brother said, there's no way you're going to do it. So in a way, it's a game. I don't need that much money, but the idea of making that much of an impact in the world, the idea of actually equipping people is so much bigger to me than the money. And so I am committed, Jane, that the level of support you've received is what you can expect throughout, because I am so committed to your success. And especially when I see other people taking action and moving in the right direction, I will do everything in my power to meet them on the way there. Anne, I see you.
Hi, thank you so much for today, Laurie. It's absolutely wonderful. I'm just wondering, have you mentioned 2 different workshops? I'm just a little bit confused. Are there 2 different ones that you've mentioned today? Just to clarify.
So I have a program called, I believe it's called Mastering Group Sessions, and that's a $247 program. And it essentially gives you everything that I've given you today, plus a little bit more. It gives you some PDF handouts that show you the SIP protocol. It gives you a few of my favorite inductions, which, by the way, you all are getting my induction script, plus my three of my very favorite, most powerful hypnosis protocols, plus another gift that I'll talk to you about. it's all on its way. It's scheduled to go to you in 2 hours after this call ends as an email. But, and that program will equip a person to do sessions over Zoom. Just, I don't really think you need it unless you want the nuts and bolts about Zoom itself. But what I found is after people go through that program, they say, great, now what? Like, how do I actually get people into the program? And the way I think of it is that there are 3 pillars that create the foundation for a 6-figure business. And that's just my goal is a 6-figure business. Hold on, I got to take a drink real quick. If your goal is bigger or smaller, having these pillars in place will allow you to create this. The first one is the biggest pillar. And this is like a really lopsided, I need a better metaphor. But the number one thing you have to have in place is to know how to actually reach people, how to show up in the world in a way that makes people lean in and pay attention to you, and how to be brave and be seen. And the truth is, that's the scariest thing for most people. That was the scariest thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And what people don't realize is that's what changes you on an identity level as you step into your worthiness to be seen. And as you step into your worthiness to be seen, you give that same gift to others. Everyone here on this call would not have shown up if I hadn't started making videos from a place of absolute terror with a huge imposter monster screaming in my ear to shut up. It's really, really scary. But when you learn how to do it and doing it in the confines of this safe group where you have like the strongest, the community feel that you experience on this call today is like just a scratch in the surface of what you get inside the group. When you have like a whole host of people cheering you on, you create that foundation. And I teach you exactly how to reach people, like how to compose your posts in a way that makes people actually listen, how to make video. We'll kick this off with a 3-day video challenge. If any of you have taken that before, that gets you confident quickly on video. And then that second pillar is the tech. And if this isn't in place, you can't do it as well. And so the tech is like knowing how to actually get people into your email list, which is your biggest asset. Because if you're just talking to people on social media and something happens on social media, you're screwed. But it's knowing how to give people a gift, which is going to be a hypnosis audio, which I teach you how to make with nothing more than your cell phone and give you the script for. If you give them that hypnosis audio in exchange for their email address, and they click one button and it all happens. And I show you exactly how to make that happen. And then when it's time to do your call, I show you how to set it up so that they can click one button, their money goes in your bank account, your call link goes into their email. And it's just like, that's the part where so many people get hung up. And then the third pillar, which is actually the easiest, is delivering the call, which you all know how to do by now. Is that helpful, Anne?
Yes, thank you. So am I correct in thinking then the smaller program, is that included? It's covered within the bigger one, is that right?
Absolutely. Yes. Excellent question. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much, darling.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. I've had so many people ask me to mentor them, and I just don't have the bandwidth. And the first time I'm like, I want to, if I could duplicate myself and do this, I would. So my answer a year ago is when I set up the HIC, the Hammond Inner Circle Mastermind. And we've been working out the kinks in this program for a year. And it was my answer to the mentoring question. And I thought, well, it will be group mentoring. The joke was on me because within days, maybe week, I think it was within days of putting it together, my apartment flooded and I lost all my earthly belongings and I was homeless for several days. And it was like somebody had taken my snow globe and shaken it up, and like my world was upside down, and I literally could not engage in that group. And so in my absence, as I stepped out, all the people in that beautiful group started supporting one another and sharing things that were like cooler than anything I could have known. And it became a true mastermind where it's not the Lori Hammond show. It's this group of open-hearted healers and this is a place where there is no competition. creativity and compassion and collaboration are the antidote to competition. And that's what happens inside these Facebook, my Facebook groups, our Facebook groups. I set it up to be a mentorship experience, and it's turned out to be like I've learned from them. So that's part of the beauty of it. So thank you, Anne. And Hillary, I see your hand.
Hi, gorgeous Laurie. I'm glad you mentioned the Inner Circle Mastermind, because that's what I was actually going to say next. You know, with Laurie, and I will promote her, she can blush as much as she likes. With Laurie, what you see is what you get. You get 100% love and connection, and she's there for you. And Grandad John's on this call as well. He'll put his hand up and back me up on that. I've been on lots of courses with different people, as many of you have. You know, we know who are the big boys out there. I've been on those, and I will tell you something now. I would spend my last penny on Laurie below the rest of them. That's from my heart. She knows that.
Thank you, Hillary.
That's it. Okay.
Oh man, thank you.
I love you.
Thank you. I love you too. Marilyn, I see you, my friend.
I don't even know how to follow that. Hillary, that was amazing. And I agree. I knew you, Lori, way back when you were starting out.
Yeah.
I do have a question about your 10-week program.
Yeah.
So I'm actually right now in a program at university, doing in-depth studies, research on trauma. So I'm not sure when you're meeting, you know, with the group, and will it fit in? Will it coincide? Because
yeah, that's a great question. So most of the content is going to live inside a member portal where you'll have access to the week. I'm going to deliver content 1 week at a time, because you're going to have this big picture goal of what you're building after the first group call. But then it's like you're going to illuminate the first few steps because so much of this happens when you have overwhelm. When you see all the things you need to do, it's like, oh, I'm just going to go watch. What's a show that's Ted Lasso? That's what show I would watch. It's an Apple show, best show ever. So I'll deliver the content 1 week at a time, and you can complete it as we go, Marilyn. Or you'll have lifetime access to all the content. And then we will do a group call every Sunday at noon my time, which is 7 p.m. UK time, 8 p.m. in most of the rest of Europe, 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Pacific. It's crazy how this career makes you aware of all the different time zones. And those will be 1 hour calls. And I will honor your time and have them be exactly 1 hour. And you will get the replay so you can watch them on your own time and get the same experience, the same magic on the replay as being there in person. And we'll do those for 10 weeks. We'll all do this together for 10 weeks. And then it's your gift to go through at whatever pace you would like. Does that help?
It does. It does. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You guys, I promise I did not ask or expect people to say these nice things. It's actually really humbling, and I'm really grateful. Granddad John.
I'm not going to say anything nice about you,
Okay,
Laurie,
good.
because everybody's done it already. You don't want to hear how good you are, how marvelous, how passionate, how empathic you are. Bloody lovely. Love you to bits. But 5 years ago at 72, I decided to retire. After doing a job that I have loved, teaching people, looking after people, tutoring all around the UK and everything else. But I am seriously now, and I told you this the other day, thinking of starting off. It sounds bloody stupid, doesn't it? You know, 77, you're going to start work again, you must be crackers. But over here in the UK, I don't know what it's like in America, but things are getting tight. Money's getting tight, fuel's getting more expensive. We're having to eat jam butties now, where we used to have steak sandwiches, now we can't. So it's like, whatever. So it's making me think. I have been doing hypnosis for over 50 years. And very, very rare have I ever charged, because I thought it was a gift that I had to give to other people. And I've worked with John Laval, Bandler, Them, all of them, fantastic people. Carl Smith, he's as bad as an Effa and Jeffer as what Mandel was when he was a kid.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to say is what I have learned from you this last few years is not just humility and honesty, but it's being grateful and living with yourself every morning when you get up and saying how bloody fantastic I am. You know, looking in that mirror. And I know I'm an ugly bugger, but I don't tell myself that. I'm a good looking guy. But I love you. And I hope this is a fantastic success for you. And I'll see you on Tuesday.
Thank you, Granddad John. I love you. You've had such a huge impact on my life. I'm so grateful for you. Someday I'm going to hug you in person. Yeah.
I hope so too. One day at Freddie Jacquin's, because he's moved up near me now. So,
is he near you?
Well, I have got a mobile home or a lodge or whatever you want to call it, just down the road from where he is moved to. So we will all get together.
Yes.
Before I pop my clog, I hope.
We will. A few minutes ago, I don't know if you all heard my alarm go off on my phone. And I feel like this is a good place to plug this because it's a really common thing that the people that I engage with, other hypnotherapists, have some limiting beliefs about money. And that's one of the key components that I'm plugging into this program, because if you can't accept your worthiness to receive an excellent living, it's like that self-talk thing. I'm not a good hypnotist. I'm not a good self-hypnotist. Your unconscious mind's going to go, okay. So if you like have hesitation to charge, and you guys, I feel the same thing. Like, this is really scary for me to put this program out. And I've stepped into my worthiness to receive money more and more, just very gradually. But I have an alarm on my phone that goes off at 10:05 every morning, and it says money gratitude. And I open my phone and I go into each of my bank accounts and I look at my balance, no matter how big it is, no matter how tiny it is. And I hold my phone up high so that I can, so that I'm looking up, my 3Bs are looking up. I put on this posture and I tell my money, and it's ridiculous because the more ridiculous you are, the better it works. Thank you. I love you. I love you, love you, love you. Sometimes I'll say, go get your friends. We're going to have a party, put up streamers, decorate. I love you. And I just let myself feel gratitude for money, because we can try all these fancy tricks to try to change our mindset and our relationship with money. And you guys, I have experienced poverty. I have lived in a house that was subsidized by my friend who only had me pay half the rent, and I had no furniture in the house. And one of my kids' parents came and gave me their patio furniture to put in my house so that my kids would have a place to sit. And it's like I have known poverty. And as long as you are in a poverty mentality, it's really hard to start accepting your worthiness to charge. And so for me, that money gratitude thing, and I think I heard that on someone else's podcast, someone else did that. And I thought, I'm going to try it. And I turned on that alarm. And if I don't feel like it, I do it. If there's like something I want to be in denial about in my checking account, I'll do it anyway. And it creates a transformational shift in your mindset about money, which radiates through in your worthiness to accept money from others. And also in your worthiness to invest in the tools that will allow you to be successful yourself. Caroline, I realized that I told you to tell me more questions and then I stopped asking you. So do we have some more questions? We've got about 6 minutes and then I'll wrap up. But if you see any doozies that are really important, they're probably all important doozies.
You've kind of covered them in the conversation. People were just asking about, like, charging for group sessions and a little bit about tech. I know, let me just go back in the chat for a second. Victoria, I'm not sure how you pronounce the surname, so let's say Victoria. She asked, will there be extra costs for technology? And I think she means in the new program. So you might want to answer.
That's a really good question, Victoria. I'm really happy you asked that. So the beta test, which I have recently discovered is said beta by people with an English accent. The beta test, I told the people, so I took the HIC, I had this idea as I was putting this program together. I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be ready in time. Though I have to make sure I'm ready in time. And in the same way I quit my job to ensure that I would actually start this business, I thought, what if I walk 10 members of this group through this program in the next 10 weeks and build it as we go? And I thought, if only I can get 10 people to sign up, and 40 people signed up. And so I told them on the call, I said, you guys, I don't know how, I know how to do the tech really well inside my platform. And it's a platform that that Chris Thompson showed me when I first started. He sat me down and showed it to me. And he's like, Lori, this will make your business so much easier. I'll tell you what it is in just a minute. It is a pricier option. And I told them, if you're gonna do this with me, you got to sign up for Kajabi. And what I learned as I went through, people who said, I'm not techie, you guys, I had a conversation with this woman, and I don't think she would mind me sharing her name. I'm going to tell you because you can message her. Her name is Shelly Downs. And she was terrified of tech when she started. Her ex-husband is in IT, and he's like, you could never do it. And now she's in a place where she wants to start building landing pages for other people inside Kajabi. So I told them, you have to do Kajabi because that's the only way I know how to teach it. This time through, I am going to support people. So whatever platforms you choose to use, I will show you what needs to happen inside those platforms. But there's thousands of options, you guys. There's so many different options. There's no way I can walk you through it step by step. So because Caroline does not use Kajabi, she's going to be partnering with me to teach you how to do it on whatever platform you choose. If you choose to use Kajabi, I will literally give you video tutorials that say, okay, click here, like I will be doing it with you. You can pause the video and do what I'm doing. It's like stupid easy. If you choose a different platform, we will do our best to equip you. And like Jane was saying at the beginning, if there's a place where you have a question, you can ask in the group and I'll help you. But if you're proficient with Google and you have a problem and you can go and Google and say, how do I do this in this platform? You'll be fine using your own platform. I'm going to just boldly say, sometimes people hesitate to use Kajabi. It's about $150 a month. And that's a big price. And what Chris Thompson helped me understand years ago, time is money. Like your time is valuable, your energy is valuable. Figuring out how to integrate this with this and make all these pieces work together is a drain. And when you have a platform in place that just does all of it in one place, my podcast is in Kajabi, my programs are in Kajabi, my email list, my landing page, everything. I don't need to piece together like a $10 program here. I'm going to stop going down that trail. But when you accept your worthiness to invest in making your life easier, really amazing things can happen. So I will tell you that's going to be an option inside the program. But if you already have things set up or you want to set them up in a more inexpensive way, you're welcome. You're so welcome to do that. So that is a really, really good question. And I'm going to put a link to Kajabi so you guys can see it. I will I would recommend that you not sign up yet because you won't need it until we're a couple weeks in. So please don't sign up yet because you get a 30-day free trial. But if you want to check it out, you can check that out. And the lowest entry point is adequate. That's all you'll need is the lowest entry point. You don't need one of the upgraded options. Sheris, thank you for being so patient.
Hi, Lori. So I find that in my practice, I attract a lot of empaths. And I was wondering if you would advise doing groups for different kinds of people, or if you are doing groups just generally, or do you have a focus, depression, weight loss, whatever? Are you doing all different groups?
The more targeted the group, the more specific the topic, the easier it will be for people to find you and the easier it will be for people to sign up. So if you said this is for empaths who ... this specific thing, it'll be so much easier to sell than what I stumbled into the first time. This is going to be amazing. Somehow I did it. And I think it's because I had built so much rapport on video. So people did know, like, and trust me that when I said it's going to be amazing. So if you have that rapport piece in, and then you talk about one specific thing to the people who are paying attention to you, it will be awesome. And then the other thing I want to say, and I know we need to wrap up, is the answer, whatever your question is, should I do a hypnosis session about? The answer is yes. It's a game, you guys. Play the game, experiment. Try this. If a bunch of people sign up, you know you have a winner. Try this. If nobody signs up, put that on the back burner. Maybe throw it away. Maybe try it again later. Just start. One of the most useful posts. This is a quick bonus, and I'm going to stop talking. And by the way, the link to the program is in the bottom of the chat. And there are only 77 spots left.
76.
70. Oh my gosh. A post on Facebook. Just put up a post, one sentence. If I were to do a group session about blah, 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 would you be interested? You guys have seen me do posts like this. Write a word below if you are, and see how many people. Never build the session first. Never, never, never build the session first. Find out who wants it and then build it. You guys, will you all bring your hands to your heart with me one more time? I am so, so grateful for you all. I'm so grateful for the new friends who I've never seen on this call before. I'm so grateful for the old friends, Jane, who was one of the first people. She was in that first group. I'm so grateful to you all. And I wish you to be happy. I wish you to be well. I wish you to step into your worthiness to make a difference in the world. Please, please reach out to me anytime. I am available to you. You can message me in the DMs if you have questions going through. I love you. I see you, and you are ready to do this.